Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming with the test of patch 4.0 beta for Total War 2. Nothing really groundbreaking in terms of changes, some build order changes for the AI, it will focus more on the military in the early turns, it will build in such a way that it doesn't have food and squalor issues late game or try and avoid those, and so on. Changes to battles in terms of armor piercing and missile units. They've made Testudo actually work now. Unfortunately, in terms of battles, they screwed up with flaming projectiles because well, let's just say they haven't really implemented flaming projectiles with this patch very well. One big change though is that unit ghosts have disappeared now. Instead you get circles and just circles. You still get unit ghosts when it comes to naval units, artillery, vehicles, siege engines specifically when we're talking of vehicles. But yeah, otherwise just circles means your frame rate doesn't drop by a huge amount. One bug I've been noticing with the patch, at least in its current version, is that sometimes the unit audio cuts out, so you don't hear units marching, you don't hear sounds of fighting and all that. You do hear dialogue, but yeah, it's a pretty annoying bug as far as I'm concerned. One of the major issues that people have been complaining about since day one, Siege Battle AI is still broken, at least on the offensive. On the defensive, they've made some tweaks here and there with every single patch, but on the offensive, it's still trying to take that fucking flag. It still doesn't split up its army properly to attack from multiple points of the city, instead just preferring to go for one single gate, which is pretty stupid as far as I'm concerned. Okay, they've re-added loose formation for certain units. Well, not that they ever took it out from the game since it's shipped without it, but talking about in comparison to other. It seems that initially they were gonna have loose formation, then they took it out. Now they've re-added it for certain units, not all of them. Like Astati have it, Velites and Levies are already in default loose formation. They can't go to tight formation, which I think is a good idea. Triarii don't have it, which I think is just perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. I don't really have a problem with that. Some people might, but yeah, personally I don't take issue with that. So I'm several turns in with the Roman campaign as the Junia family. Things have gone in an interesting direction. I'm at war with quite a few factions. I've got several armies in Africa. I've taken Carthago. I've taken Lepsis in the Africa province. Libya now is left with Syracuse, which they took from Syracuse. Syracuse is in control of Apollonia, which they took from Epirus. Epirus has been wiped out. I allied myself with Syracuse, but then they got themselves in a war with Sparta. So I decided, yeah, I'm not gonna join a war against Sparta. Anyway, some animation issues when units clump up together. There's less of a blob, but there's still issues. And while flaming projectiles are actually not a good idea, at least right now. Also, one of the major issues that I personally have, like you can see here, no damage from those flaming projectiles, so let's switch to regular javelins. One of the major issues that I personally have with the game, namely the idea that the fucking advisor cannot be permanently turned off, hasn't been fixed yet, which is rather annoying for me personally. Okay, let's go. I mean, they've implemented some improvements with regards to with regards to the game overall, but there's still issues. Scorpion towers remain as overpowered as ever, by the way. In fact, they've actually made the low tier towers even more powerful than they were. They're pretty useless. They gave them flaming projectiles, but flaming projectiles are now useless. Like you can see, my Velites here getting shot at by all those flaming javelins. They're not, like, none of them is dying from it. That's pretty ridiculous, and that's with light units, which have no real shields to speak of. I wish the battle advisor could be turned off permanently, that I didn't have to do that every single battle. If I want to turn him on back, if I want to turn him back on again, that should be an option for me. I shouldn't have to just turn him off or in every single individual battle. It's fairly frustrating to deal with. Okay, no real improvements to campaign AI or its decision making. Build order is a different thing, as I see it. The decision making, well, it's as it was before. Performance-wise, some improvements. You know, especially with them removing the ghosts. That's a major performance improvement. They do state in the patch notes that they're working on, that they implemented some frame rate improvements, but that they're working on even more with the future patch, which is a very good thing to hear. The game still lacks SLI support, by the way, for NVIDIA card users. Now, personally, I don't use SLI because there's a lot of problems with SLI for a great deal of games. Also, it makes your computer very hot and makes it consume a great deal of energy, and the benefit just isn't worth the cost, as I see it. Okay, so that's the garrison. Alright. Took it fairly easily. I've been seeing Carthage, Libya, because those are the factions I've been mostly fighting. Actually recruit better units. I've seen Carthaginian hoplites, peltasts. Against the Etruscan League, which I defeated early on, I actually saw them recruit cavalry. Imagine that. Now, I've seen factions recruit cavalry in my Spartan walkthrough, but even with cavalry there was a certain balance. Like factions like the Boii or Parthia, you know, Scythian factions, they just recruit a great deal of horse archers and not much else. Ooh, this is fairly unpleasant. So yeah, these guys have declared war against me. Not good. Not good at all. Maybe I can get a peace deal.
Be welcome.
Nope. I do like this change, though. It tells you how, like, say for instance, you go here. Tells you very easily who you're friends with and who you're hostile with. Also tells you the same with other factions. I mean, there was something similar before, but not on this kind of level. Only really told you who you were at war with, not the level of friendliness you had towards a certain faction or another.
Ready for order.
So there's an army of African pikemen, Carthaginian cavalry, Melkar, and Libyan javelin men.
Your orders.
Okay, let's move it back to Carolus.
Ready for orders.
It's been going fairly well for me so far, but obviously I am a bit extended. Overextended, one could say. If I go here, I have 3 settlements in the Africa province. I have 2 in Corsica, Sardinia. I have control over Italia. I'm at war with the Daursi, by the way. World-wise, well, I can't see much of the world, so I don't know how things are going. Oh, Nova Carthago has, well, Carthage is claiming territory in the Baetica province. The Turdetani had taken Gadira, now they've retaken it, and there's a war going on between them. I have a legion here with Equites, Triarii, Principes, and my tab button doesn't seem to be working properly. Entering this mode, yeah, it works just fine. Exiting this mode does not work just fine. Bit of a problem there. Okay, the first legion will go for Yol and take it for the glory of Rome, or glory of Roma. You know, some people are expecting, I don't know, them to just add family, the family tree back into the game with one patch. I mean, you know, you can't really expect, you know, stuff on, you know, stuff like that to just take a week or two. It's, you know, major change to the game. And one of my generals has been assassinated because the AI does that now. It actually uses its agents more effectively, though that was in the previous patch, not this one. There are a ton of bug fixes, and by the way, obviously this is beta, so you know there's bugs that are specific to the beta and only to the beta that will hopefully get fixed. That will hopefully get fixed before the game, before it's launched live.
I will. I am we victory. We hope. No, that path is blocked.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
Mm-hmm. Untrustworthy. Alright. The balance of power is pretty fine for the most part.
Commander. Ready for orders.
Though,
Ready for orders.
the balance of power in politics. On war side of things, Libya is about to try and reclaim Syracuse from me. That's not really good for Rome right about now. We've got an army here, which I'm trying to find money for in order to eventually take against the Darcy. But right now I just really lack the money over here. Maybe if I no, not raiding. I'll leave it as is. Carthage has great force in Nova Carthago. I'm not gonna be able to take that out very easily, and they've taken Cartuba, so yeah. It's developing in an interesting way. Oh, and they've taken part of the Mauritania province. This is annoying, by the way. This is a rather annoying bug that when I go in there, it won't let me get out unless I press this fucking button. Keybinds. Use them, people. Many people... Oh, the game has become a clickfest. No, you have to actually use keybinds in Rome to imagine that, not playing a total war game with just a mouse, using actual fucking keybinds in the game. Okay, let's get some wealth from livestock. And, well, I don't actually have the money, do I? Nope. Don't have the money for it. Well, some factions, there's still issues here, like this faction marched through the desert here to try and get to me instead of taking the road, and they've suffered tremendously because of that. You can see many of their troops have lost a great deal of soldiers. Okay. And they're besieging Thapsus. Go over there. But now I'm getting all of these reminders of things that are happening. By the way, I can't, with the change in the patch notes, I can't change the battle difficulty. I can understand it, you know, not being able to lower it, but make it so that it actually is at legendary battle difficulty when playing on legendary creative assembly. Also, all those reminders are pretty damn annoying. And I can't turn that off. There's no setting to turn that off.
Commander.
Sabotage. Well, this is not gonna go well for the 5th Legion.
Commander. It is an honor to serve Rome.
Well, I do have a force that could potentially come to the rescue.
Any man who drops out is left behind. Destination reached. You have further orders?
Okay. So if they attack the settlement over there, they're gonna have to face my reinforcements as well. Okay, leave those as they are. Carthage is, well, Carthage is marshalling great forces to try and retake y'all from me. Well, it's certainly developing in a very interesting way, as I personally see it.
We hunger for battle.
You do not have enough money to recruit this. Lovely.
Ready for
Yeah,
orders.
things are certainly looking interesting for me. If I can wipe out the Dowry, I could have a great deal more income there. Alright. Yeah, this is quite a bit more challenging than my Spartan campaign, at least initially. For my Spartan campaign, initially, the only real challenge came from fighting, came from fighting Macedonia, which I won because AI was just pretty dumb. Okay. Well, this one's gonna be interesting. Still, because the AI is dumb with regards to its siege battle tactics, it's not gonna be extremely difficult to win this one. Okay. So, they're gonna come over there. I'm gonna leave these guys in control of the command point, the victory point. I'm gonna place my Hastati in a single, rather not a single line.
Hastati! We await your command!
Where can they land? Well, they can't land over here anywhere. They could potentially land here. So I'm gonna leave a unit of Triarii with these guys. Put these Triarii.
Hastati! Equites! Orders understood.
Yep.
Levies! Orders!
And take these Equites. Maybe I can flank around the enemy army and hit them in the side hard.
Triarii!
Principes will stay here. So yeah, I've covered a great. I've covered all my sides, so let's speed this up. The real issue will be with elephants, dealing with those elephants, because they're pretty powerful units to try and deal with. I'm not entirely certain where Carthage is actually gonna strike against me, so I might want to reinforce it right here. Seems they're going that way. Okay. Well, or they might deploy here, I don't know. It's difficult to say. Now the cavalry will be able to deal with... will be able to easily deal with the enemy's javelins. Enemy javelin men. Alright. So, yeah. You're seeing another brilliant case of AI stupidity. I'm not sure what's worse, them charging for this narrow street instead of taking the open path, or... Oh, that's a nice bug there. This guy lost his handler. Okay. What the fuck is going on here? I don't know. It's AI stupidity. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Now we've got hoplites bearing down on me. On my cavalry. No damage, because flaming projectiles are bugged and AI only uses flaming projectiles. Come on! I know, my Equitas got hit hard right there. Not gonna use that particular unit again in this battle. Well, this is interesting, and this is, by the way, the first time I see it, even with a patch. The AI is not rushing like a bloody idiot. Probably, the reason the AI is not doing that, though, most likely is because the victory point is really close to where we are actually fighting. That's probably the reason. If it was farther away, you would still see idiotic AI tactics. Because the first thing I actually did after installing this patch was test that out. Test to see how it would be in a siege battle. My Equitas are getting slaughtered. Okay. So are my Triarii, by the way. Well, it's a battle where I'm completely outnumbered. To point out the obvious. My general is still alive for a moment. Okay. Send a bunch of units there. So it seems when the AI gets close to a victory point, it's able to use decent tactics. If it gets close to the victory points. Thing is, if you don't allow it to, and you know, this is actually something I saw even in my Spartan playthrough in a specific battle. I saw this exact thing in the sense that, yeah, the AI can be smart in a siege battle if it gets close to the victory point. If that happens. Well, this is gonna work out well, I imagine. Still have the Principes though. So I'm throwing them into the fray. And you can still see these Carthaginian hoplites trying to push through like a bunch of imbeciles. Okay. That's taken care of. Not sure what these guys are doing. Well, they're bugged out, I imagine. So yeah, campaign AI-wise, Carthage has been doing fairly well, actually. Despite everything it's faced. Okay, that's not a very good sign for me, is it? So when they're close to the victory point, the AI suddenly becomes a lot smarter. Though it can still do the odd idiotic move. Sometimes. Okay. Yeah, these guys are routing. I'm gonna try and flank around here, by the way. Even though my units will get tired. Well, I'll just flank around with my with my Principes on the side. While leaving my Hastati to deal with the enemy ranged units over there. It seems that the battle changes, battle balance changes, particularly they've made battles a lot longer. There's been morale changes, defense changes, so on and so forth. Okay. So I lost 800 units, the enemy lost 3,000 units. It's a victory. Though it should be kept in mind that the enemy had weaker units than I did. I mean, sure, he had the African pikemen, some elephants, some Carthaginian hoplites, but he also had a great deal of javelin men and Libyan hoplites. And Libyan hoplites are shit. I do like this this bouncing chevron thing that they've implemented here, which tells you which units have gained experience in the battle, which is good. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it, as far as I'm concerned. So, some improvements, still some issues with the Battle Advisor, the Scorpion Towers, though they actually allow you to use artillery in siege battles now. Because settlements, Tier 4 settlements, don't just have Scorpion Towers if you're an Eastern or Hellenic or Latin faction. They also have deployable, all of them, regardless of faction. They also have, hold on a second. They also have deployable siege weapons. Oh, someone's sabotaging my settlements.
We hunger for battle. At your command.
Well, these units survived fairly intact, as far as I can see.
I am here.
No, they won't accept the peace treaty.
You are well. You have my attention.
Yeah, it's a messy war. It's a difficult war, as it should be.
Ready for battle.
I'm not sure if I could march.
Any man
Nope.
who drops out is left behind.
Unfortunately, well, I could potentially get close enough to actually come to the assistance of the army there. But that would mean leaving Lepsis undefended. Anyway, when I say deployable artillery, just load my Spartan playthrough, where I have actually continued past the ending video of the walkthrough. I've just continued conquering. I wanted to get an army to level 10. I actually did that with the Black Company. Anyway, just to show you here what I'm talking about. I'm referring to these. Now, I know the settlement has slums, and that's something I didn't give a shit to deal with. There's still a great deal of lag, but I refer to these Greek Bastion Ballistas, Greek Bastion Onagers, Greek Bastion Scorpions. Now, originally I thought that, because they were lazy with the design, that Scorpion Towers were meant to replace these, but now you can actually deploy them, so it was really just a bug on their side that they have fixed. It's clear to me that while personally I think Rome 2 is the best Total War game I've ever played, it's clear to me that it's a game that was released unfinished. Well, that's what happens with a company like Creative Assembly, which is desperate for Metacritic scores. Yeah, that's what happens.
Greetings, honored guest.
Because they design their games to get better Metacritic scores. To get high Metacritic scores. That article was... I'm sure some of you have heard of it, but there's an article from the head of with an interview from the head of Creative Assembly, where he talks about how they cut features from their games to get higher Metacritic scores. Oh boy, that was something that was really horrible to read. Anyway, Costin here on Serious Gaming, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more. I'll be starting my second walkthrough for Rome 2 today. I said I was gonna wait for the next patch. It came. Didn't have the battle AI improvements that I had hoped for. There seem to be some. There are some improvements in open field battles, but not in siege battles, where most of the battles in Rome 2 take place. Creative Assembly. I think this is something you should realize by now. So yeah, stay tuned for my second walkthrough, which is gonna be as Parthia, because they're a very different faction than most other factions in the game, and I'm very curious to see how it is to play them in a campaign. So yeah, Costin here, signing out.